New at 11, a car slams into an SUV. It's caught on surveillance video. This is in Anaheim, right in front of the Cobra Smoke Shop at Anaheim Boulevard and Winston Road. As you can see, the SUV was parked in front of the business when it got slammed from behind. The driver of the parked SUV was okay, but the driver that hit the SUV had to be taken to the hospital. No word yet on that driver's condition. Well, Monday started off nice and warm, but this is the warmest day of the week?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Still warm tomorrow, just not as warm as today.
Okay.
We're cooling down midweek. Will be nice after that. And there might be a little rain in the mix as well in some spots, okay? So there's some action to talk about here in the weather. Let's get to it. We'll start with what it looks like on this very warm day. 85, as I said earlier, for downtown today. That's the view from West LA looking towards Santa Monica, and you see the Santa Monica Mountains, and you see a lovely sunset, and we see a flock of birds kind of drifting across the camera as well. And there it goes. Lovely day in the books. And, you know, we await here the nice weather this week, the changing weather, and we await the World Series starting later this week. Very exciting. And, of course, you can watch that right here on Fox. Okay, so let's talk about our headlines. We've got another warm day tomorrow, just like I said, not as warm as today. We see this midweek system pass by, so that's going to cool us down, especially Wednesday. That'll be the coolest day of the week, and there could be some spotty rain in some spots. As far as tomorrow, I think we stay shy of 80 degrees for downtown, but it's still going to be warm. We'll probably top out mid to upper 70s in the afternoon after we start off nice and cool in the morning with some 50s for the morning hours. And around the rest of Southern California, we'll see those 80s. They'll be quite common across the Inland Empire and the valleys and into the deserts as well. And then 70s as you work your way a little bit closer towards the coast. So it kind of depends on where you are as to how warm it will be tomorrow. That's almost always the case around here, but some pretty nice temperatures overall. Quiet weather right now, not much to see locally on radar and satellite, but as we back this out farther, we can see a couple of things. Notice first of all this kind of ridge shape right here. So there's a broad area of high pressure here, which is why we're warm, but embedded in that high is this low right here, and that's what's going to move across our area within the next couple of days, and that'll bring those changes, the cooler temperatures, and that chance for a little spotty rain. All right, let's go into tomorrow. Mostly clear for most areas in the morning. Right along the coast, there's probably going to be some cloud cover. Sunny midday, and then some scattered clouds start drifting in tomorrow afternoon. That's the beginning of that system that's going to move through. It probably passes through Wednesday. And so as that starts to happen, you can see Tuesday night, maybe one or two showers popping up over the mountains. Here we go into Wednesday morning. There could be a little drizzle in some spots mixed within the cloud cover. And then that should be it for most areas for the rain chance. However, on Wednesday afternoon, some parts of the mountains like the San Gabriel Mountains and then up the 5 and north of Santa Clarita could be a little bit of spotty rain there during the day on Wednesday. That's all the system is going to do for us rain-wise. So it doesn't do much, but again, it will bring those cooler temperatures as well. All right, the bigger pattern now. So this goes through Wednesday. Then notice those orange colors returning later this week, so the temperatures come back up a little bit. And then this goes by to our north this weekend, which is going to cool us down a little, but it's going to be wet and much cooler from Northern California northward. And then we go to next week. If you're already wondering what the World Series games weather looks like around here, we've got game 3, 4, 5 here at home. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. And we're likely to see a warm pattern. If I had to pin it down right now, I would say Monday of next week we'd see highs in the 70s, but 80s probably for Tuesday, and if necessary, game 5 on Wednesday of next week. All right, so our high temperatures for L.A. Inland Orange County. We've got those upper 70s tomorrow. We're down to about 70 on Wednesday, so that's our coolest day of the week. Temperatures come up a little Thursday and then on Friday, down a little this weekend, and then we start seeing that upward trend once again next week. If we had like an 8 or a 9-day forecast, you'd see some 80s at the end right there. All right, for the coast, we've got temperatures kind of fluctuating in that low 70s to upper 60s range for several days in a row. Nothing too dramatic there. The valleys in the IE, we've got the 80s tomorrow, down to 70s Wednesday, back up to some 80s Thursday, Friday, and then kind of down a little bit for the upcoming weekend. Let's round it out with the mountains and deserts. So for the mountains, it's 50s and 60s for several days. Tomorrow will be a little warmer, and then the next day a little cooler. Here's the high desert. It's 80s, then 70s, then 80s, then 70s. So a little bit of kind of back and forth there. And for the low desert, we've got a pretty hot one tomorrow, down to the 80s Wednesday, back to the 90s Friday, and down a little for the weekend. Over to you.